Now, now, as surely the Shura, I believe her name was, spoke concerning these matters, how they was getting them, taking their land from them. These big insurance companies bought up a lot of land when these people went bankrupt. So they did it in Arkansas, and they did it all over there. This was a war against pigs. They saw what they were seeing, but they didn't understand the significant facts of what the Antichrist has done. When they put all these high-tech jobs, making manufacturing vehicles, and these black people lured the black peoples off the farm. And when they came off the farm and went up there and started making manufacturing vehicles and everything, they became addicted to the pay raise that they experienced up at these big cities, and they become bragging about how much money they were making. And they came down here driving shop cars in the South, and when they come down here, all the women fall for these guys driving these brand new cars and everything, sharp and all this. Some of them drug dealers and some of them was. In doing so, their addiction became a product of the mindset of these people who was just barely getting by just sitting up riding, just old raggedy hootie, I guess what you call it, and just ride them down. They be wanting to become just like that man that go up north because the women begin to follow after these men. But in the mindset of these people, this became their destructive part. Because they became a person not satisfied with what their way they were living, but became a person by looking at these people with an addiction of being a person of a materialistic mindset. And then when they came up with all these stuff, then they started creating crap, shoving it in the face of our people. Cell phone, all these stuff, enhancing their addiction. Man got cell phones, calling up drug dealers and all this and stuff. All they think is something. All this. Once they became addicted to what they did, was doing, then they start shipping all these jobs overseas, killing the food chain here in America, because they don't want America to come and fight them and stop them from doing what they done when they create a genocide against the black people in America. They already sent peoples over there when they taken us from slaves and diluted Africa and made them a propaganda as tributary. They're not at the full strength because they is divided into tributaries. And as they have become divided into tributaries, that man could take and act out or act against this man, have him to go out there and whoop his brother. And then act out him and carry him over this tributary. And we saw this in Rwanda when the President Clinton sit up and lie and rest these were let them people one of them slaughtered all his own brothers. But through their ignorance and through their separate mind, they acted out this because they have a foolish mind, because this is what have been taught to them throughout the generation, but don't know that their true enemy is the man that created this pitfall for them, because at the end of the end, Jesus is going to kill them for it. They didn't get away with nothing. They made a difference in their peoples instead of trying to unite under a formula of reconstruction. They being further divided because of this man that who is not their brother, have worked this work against them through a formula of propaganda. Rwanda, they went and killed 1 million people, 800. That is these people, when you multiply them through the years, these are people that cut off, that can't be a reproduction system. But at the same time, this Antichrist man, who propaganda this stuff, he is giving these people that said, look, some of his women and every man, black man to become great, They'll stick one of their women in there, and so they could disciples the benefit from his people and disciple back over to them. This is what he done. We don't see these. We see these things, but we don't understand what we see them because we don't care. But the time is coming, and the time is at hand, where God will bring these things up against us, and we will hear them, and we will see them, and we will be made known through the manifesting of God, that we will both see and we will hear. But at this appointed time, the wrath of God will be upon us. And when we know that these are the true enemy, God would have hid his face from us. You can sit and say anything you want. You say this man prophesies. He's not speaking of things of the truth. He's not speaking of things of God. But God told me in Ezekiel chapter 2, you speak to them. Don't be hard-headed like the prophets of Israel. He wasn't talking to Israel because this was the time of the spaceship. This was the time that them prophets didn't even know nothing about. But yet he spoke the word, and in the time of this prophecy to unfold itself, I was sent back here to reveal the spaceship, and only me as a prophet, I am the first person to expose the spaceship and expose the United States of America was the man that was sitting in the judgment of God. But the thieves and the robbers, they're taking and rob me and try to steal from me, but they're not stealing from me, they're stealing from God if they use it to enhance their addiction. By me not being a materialistic person, I sit and hold my peace, I speak to people, but they will listen to what I say and they will go to other people and come back and tell me what this person said and what that person said. Well, what do I say? Sometimes we have to stop in our life and we have to question the people and ask them what I said. What did I say? Jesus did the same thing. He sat and asked him, he said, who do the people say I am? And then as they told him who they said, then he said, well, who do you say I am? He heard what the people that he sent out and to them, and they spoke to these people, and they came back and told him, well, who do the people say I am? And then he said, well, who do you say I am? And they said, you're the Son of the living God. So what this does, when you speak to the people and you find that the word that you speak is falling on deaf ears and they are not hearing you, and you know the revelation of time is upon these peoples, and the judgment of God is at hand, that he is going to bring judgment upon the United States of America, the Soviet Union, all of the people of the world because of their transgression. You would want to know, is your voice getting through by asking the question, who do you say I am? Or who do the people say I am? Because in the manner upon which they perceive you, that they will receive the word of the living God upon which you speak to them. If they do not consider you as being a man of God sent forth unto them by God, they is not going to reverence the word of the living God that you speak before them. But if they see you as being a man of God through your characteristics of the character, and by the word you speak, and where you have word and you talk and you with them day in and day out, if they receive you as a vessel of God, then you know in the end they receive the word upon which God placed upon you to send and speak to them. And at that point in time, as you speak to them, you'll know that your works is not in vain. Thank you.